it really more special for
Well, I would say this. I mean, listen, he deserves all the praise in the world. And, winners usually take that attitude. Like Steph Curry's like, what they going to say now? Jayson Tatum, like, what they going to say now? We get all of that. But that doesn't mean he doesn't need to be checked to some degree. And by that, I mean this. First of all, when you look at the criticism, how much criticism has Jayson Tatum really, really received? When he lost when he was younger, we understood. First, you were young, then you ran into LeBron James. The real criticism arrived a couple of years ago when you lost to Golden State. It really wasn't any criticism before
and
then.
last year with
Because
Miami.
you always, of course, but I said,
Yeah.
prior to
Why is it okay to get beat by LeBron James, but then it's not okay to be beaten by the dynasty of the Golden State Warriors with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green? That doesn't make any sense. And Jayson Tatum has been getting a tremendous amount of criticism all season, all for years and years and years, but especially this past season, saying there's no excuse for him, no excuse for him. They've been so hard on Tatum, so that's I don't even get that.
that
Yeah.
preceded Miami. I'm just talking about the fact that for the most part, you've been in this league, what is it, around 7 years now? Well, the first 5, nobody was bothering Jayson Tatum. You knew that he was a star on the rise. You knew his day would come. And, as far as I'm concerned, that was a very good honeymoon period for him because he continued to grow and blossom, work on his game, get better. Everybody noticed, and we just said, he's next, he's next, he's next. And then what happened is you got derailed by what some believed to be an inferior Golden State team 2 years ago because of the greatness of Steph Curry come shining through. And even though you got hurt in the Game 7, it was Jaylen Brown who didn't step up and handle this business, and that's why he worked so hard and was so focused this past offseason to get himself right so they could win the championship last night. The fact of the matter is, what preceded that was a 3-0 hole to the Miami Heat that left the basketball world aghast. You looked at the Miami Heat and you said there is no way in hell they're supposed to be up 3-0 on this Boston Celtics team. So yes, you did come back, but that's when the criticism really, really, really hit. You lost in the finals to Steph Curry. Okay, that's not great.
They were
Steph
ahead
Curry.
2-1 at home.
And they were ahead 2-1 at home, and then Steph Curry exploded. And when Steph Curry explodes, that usually, demoralizes a lot of people. This is the greatest shooter that God has ever created. Okay, that's fine. You follow that up by being down 3-0 to Miami. No reason in hell that should have happened. And that's when the criticism really, really elevated until they came back, notched it at 3-3. And so he was feeling the residue from that to some degree. But he's clearly made amends for it. He's a champion. He's class personified, pristine image, winner, obviously got all the skills in the world. And you can't help but fantasize. And there's a guy by the name, and you know this, listen, one of the nicest guys, his name is Brian Colangelo. He may never get an executive's position in this profession again because you got hosed in the swap in the number 1 and 3 pick. And even when you moved up to get number 1 and let Boston drop to number 3, you still took Markelle Fultz instead of Jayson Tatum. That is something that people are going to hold on to forever because coming out of Duke, the brother was sick.
Okay, well, I hindsight's always 2020, and pretty much every single person had Markelle Fultz going number 1. I wasn't happy with that number 1 pick personally, but I'm not gonna act like I knew that Jayson Tatum was the number 1 pick. But I just like people who are a little bit bigger, stronger. I don't like picking these smaller players, these smaller guards, because it's just been proven over years and years and years that these little bit bigger, stronger guys have more impact on a team outside of like the Steph Currys of the world. Jayson Tatum, his body type, his size and strength is more likely to take over an NBA game than, say, the Markelle Fultzes, the Steph Currys of the world, unless you shoot like you're Steph Curry, of course. But again, to act like everyone just knew, well, everyone should have, you should have just picked Jayson Tatum. I think that's, revisionist history. But listen, as you guys all know, I'm a huge Jayson Tatum fan. Very happy for him in the Celtics. And I've made a lot of excuses, and not excuses, people see them as excuses. But I gave a lot of reasons why it's okay that Jayson Tatum has not won all these rings and all of that, talking about his age, experience, and stuff like that, and the teams that he's gone up against. But this idea that he's now silenced his critics, I think, is just utter nonsense. Because if people did not like Jayson Tatum, this will not change their mind. We saw this with Steph Curry. Steph Curry won a ring, his first ring, and they're like, nope, you didn't win the MVP, doesn't count. And then he won 2 more with KD, and they say, nope, didn't happen. And then KD got injured, and they said, see, he could only win when KD is healthy. Right? It wasn't until he won his other ring years later in 22 against the Boston Celtics that they finally gave him some flowers and silenced some critics, but yet people still don't give him his flowers because, like Stephen A right here, they're like, well, this is blaming the Celtics. Like Windhurst is like, they were up 2-1 at home. Okay, it's a 7-game series. People act like just because you're up 2-1 or 2-0 or 3-0, whatever it may, maybe not 3-0, but 2-0, 2-1, whatever it may be, that means the series is automatically over. It's just nonsense. There's a reason why it's a 7-game series. So just stop with that. So this idea that people automatically now, all the critics were silenced with Steph, it's just not accurate. It's just not. Maybe some of the weird media people, sure, but a lot of the fans still know. So it also depends on where we're talking about. Where is this criticism coming from? Is it coming from the Stephen A's of the world and the Windhursts of the world, or is it coming from the fans of the world? Because I don't think he silenced any critics. I think if you were a fan of Jayson Tatum, you said, that's right, I told you he can do it. And if you're a critic of him, you say, well, Jayson Tatum won, or Jaylen Brown won the MVP. The Celtics aren't winning, and Jayson Tatum's not winning without Jaylen Brown. Like, I don't think that's changing. I mean, they were calling him out throughout the NBA Finals, saying that he's not shooting very well, this, that, and the third, when everyone wants to ignore all the other great things that he did. And here's the thing, Jayson Tatum played really great this last game, but it was a blowout, right? The Mavericks were never really in the game. So it's not like he played great in a close game that now you could say, whoa, my God, Tatum, the Celtics needed that bucket. They were down by 1, and Tatum just went off and imposed his will and scored that bucket to give them the win. Like, that didn't happen because he was putting up points when it was easy to put up points. And again, I'm not calling out Jayson Tatum. I think Jayson Tatum's great. I'm just giving out what I think people will use against him. Okay? So do not, if you're a Boston Celtics fan, do not take it as me calling out Jayson Tatum or bringing him down. Like, I've defended him throughout this entire season, quite honestly. And so I just think that, yeah, I don't know. He'll have to become an MVP in the NBA Finals, and at the very least a regular season MVP to truly get that, because I just think that for the most part he really never silenced any critics, unfortunately. But you know, I'm very happy for him, very excited for him, and just the Boston Celtics organization as a whole. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. Do you think Jayson Tatum silenced his critics? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.